The next item of business is consideration of Business Motion 19534 in the name of Graham Day. On behalf of the Parliamentary Bureau setting out a business programme, I call on Graham Day to move the motion. Minister?
Move, Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Minister. No member has asked to speak to the motion, and therefore I put the question that motion 19534 be agreed. Are we all agreed? Yes. The Parliament is agreed. The next item of business is consideration of Parliamentary Bureau Motion 19535 on approval of an SSI. I ask the Minister on behalf of the Parliamentary Bureau to move the motion.
Move, Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Minister. And I call on Liam Kerr. Up to 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I will not vote tonight to release over 1,000 criminals early from prison. Yes, the SNP's failure to come up with a holistic justice strategy has led to our prisons being dangerously overcrowded. But throwing open the gates and freeing criminals early is not the solution. During the passage of the Early Release Bill, the Cabinet Secretary said the measures in this bill will bring about a sustained reduction in the prison population. As I warned, it was nonsense then and it remains nonsense now. Indeed, Victim Support Scotland told the Justice Committee early release is, quote, not effective in reducing the prison population in the medium or longer term. Scotland's Chief Inspector of Prisons points out short-term releases don't reduce the numbers over the longer term because it does not address any of the root causes of the problems. Now, the Cabinet Secretary will argue that early release provides short-term relief, but SPS statistics show that 11 of our 17 prisons were full mere days after the previous early release programme. So really, early release just exposes the public to risk, with data showing high levels of reoffending by previous early release prisoners. It re-traumatises victims, it diminishes respect for our courts, and it exposes the SNP's failure to expedite the over-budget and delayed HMPs Glasgow and Highland. And don't forget the Prison Service's recent warning that a new prison the size of HMP Grampian or Shotts would be needed to address the overcrowding, a new prison that the Cabinet Secretary refuses to even contemplate because, as she put it, if we build, they will come. But, Presiding Officer, there are alternatives. The Government could heed prison inspectors and address the 27% of the prison population that is on remand. It could note the inspector's comment that it is the long-term population which is key and look at the inspector's proposed solutions. It could use existing powers to bring in alcohol and drug tags to reduce risks, to reduce reoffending, as they do in England. But instead, it presents MSPs today with what was originally a knee-jerk response to a wholly predictable crisis as the sole default option, with no guarantee it won't be extended to long-term prisoners in the future. I'm very sorry, Maggie Chapman, I've only got 3 minutes. Presiding Officer, public confidence in Scotland's criminal justice system is being eroded with these measures. So says Victim Support Scotland, and they are right. A government which rips up the sentences independently imposed on criminals for very good reason by judges makes a mockery of our justice system. It weakens deterrence and it sends precisely the wrong message to victims and communities. Presiding Officer, I will not vote to expose the public to risk, to trash respect for our courts and sentencing, to re-traumatise victims, simply to absolve this government of its failure of foresight and planning. Those MSPs who do otherwise should hang their heads in shame.
Thank you, Mr Kerr. I now call on Cabinet Secretary Angela Constance to respond. Up to 3 minutes, please.
Presiding Officer, can I start by acknowledging the gravity of the decision that I ask Parliament to make this evening and remind colleagues that every decision taken by myself and this Government has been done under full parliamentary scrutiny and parliamentary approval has been sought when that has been required. And I also wish to inform Parliament that the prison population today is 8,431, a new record high, a milestone that few of us would have wanted to reach. The Scottish Prison Service assessed capacity tolerance has been breached on a number of occasions. 10 of our prisons are at red risk status, and there is a risk of non-compliance with our statutory and legal obligations. Therefore, Presiding Officer, doing nothing is not an option. So the emergency action I seek Parliament's approval for is critical to ensure the safe and secure operation of our prisons and the health and safety of those who work in them. In short, ensuring that our prisons continue to accommodate those who pose the greatest risks. And I know many members of this Parliament, many members who work in the justice system and indeed victim support organisations have narrated that need for longer-term solutions to secure a stable and sustainable prison population. And I agree with them. In fact, I have been advocating just for that, and in my view have laid the foundations for that with the establishment, amongst other things, of the Independent Sentencing and Penal Commission, which will report to me at the end of this year, and my continued commitment and expansion of community justice, and certainly more does and will be done around electronic monitoring and widening the scope. And that is in addition to increasing capacity within the prison estate, as well as completing 2 new prisons. And of course, it remains to be seen who, at the end of the day, will be prepared to engage and debate with the evidence about what works to reduce offending and increase the rehabilitation of offenders to keep our community safe. And I note Mr Kerr's comments around the need to reduce the remand population, managing prisoners differently, and, of course, the use of electronic monitoring. But right now, we have to reach a position of stability to enable more permanent change and reform. And the challenge for us as a Parliament and indeed a country, if we do not want to remain in a cycle of shorter-term decisions, we will need to take bolder and longer-lasting action. Presiding Officer, this is absolutely not a decision that I have taken lightly, but it is a decision that is now necessary. And I absolutely recognise that the early release of prisoners will be cause for concern for victims. This is why these regulations have stringent safeguards in place, including statutory exclusions for sex offenders and those serving sentences for domestic abuse. We have also added extra exclusions for prisoners with unspent previous domestic abuse convictions or non-harassment orders. And of course, there's a prison governor's veto that can be applied if a release poses, I've only got 3 minutes, sir, if it poses an immediate risk of harm to an identifiable individual or group. And I would remind Chamber that in terms of the return to custody of earlier emergency release last year, that was 13%, and following the STP 40 programme, that was 5%. So I want to be clear today, Presiding Officer, emergency release is not the answer to addressing the prison population in the long term, but it is essential right now to providing critical relief to those who live and work in our prisons. It is my view that the legal test for emergency release has been met and that these measures are necessary and proportionate to maintain the security and the good order of our prisons, as well as the safety and welfare of prisoners and staff. Emergency release will start to reduce in the population within days if approved, and the schedule of releases over the next 6 months will help to maintain the effect of this for the duration of that time. Presiding Officer, we can critique the past and debate the future, but tonight we have to make a decision to act and not put our hands over our ears or turn our face to the wall. Thank you.
Thank you. The question on this motion will be put at decision time. The next item of business is consideration of 4 Parliamentary Bureau motions, and I ask Graham Day, on behalf of the Parliamentary Bureau, to move motions 19536 on approval of an SSI, 19537 on Office of the Clerk, 19538 on campaign recess dates, and 19539 on recess dates.
I move, Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Minister. The question on these motions will be put at decision time, and I'm minded to accept a motion without notice under Rule 11.2.4 of Standing Orders that decision time be brought forward to now, and I invite the Minister for Parliamentary Business to move the motion.
Move, Presiding Officer.
Thank you. And the question is that decision time be brought forward to now. Are we all agreed? Yes. We are agreed, and there are 7 questions to be put as a result of today's business. The first question is that Amendment 19512.3 in the name of Neil Gray, which seeks to amend Motion 19512 in the name of Jackie Baillie on Scotland's maternity services, be agreed. Are we all agreed? Yes. The Parliament is not agreed, therefore we will move to a vote, and members should cast their votes now. The vote is closed. I call Claire Haughey for a point of order. Actually, I can confirm, Ms Haughey, that you have voted.
Thank you.
Thank you. The result of the vote on amendment number 19512.3 in the name of Neil Gray is yes 67, no 53. There were no abstentions. The amendment is therefore agreed. The next question is that amendment 19512.2 in the name of Sandesh Gulhani, which seeks to amend motion 19512 in the name of Jackie Baillie on Scotland's maternity services, be agreed. Are we all agreed? The Parliament is not agreed. There will be a division, and members should cast their votes now. The vote is closed. The result of the vote on amendment number 19512.2 in the name of Sandesh Gulhani is yes 54, no 67. There were no abstentions. The amendment is therefore not agreed. The next question is that amendment 19512.1 in the name of Willie Rennie, which seeks to amend motion 19512 in the name of Jackie Baillie on Scotland's maternity services, be agreed. Are we all agreed? Yes. We are agreed. The next question is that motion 19512 in the name of Jackie Baillie, as amended, on Scotland's maternity services, be agreed. Are we all agreed? Yes. The Parliament is not agreed, therefore we'll move to a vote, and members should cast their votes now. The vote is closed. The result of the vote on motion 19512 in the name of Jackie Baillie as amended is yes 73, no 27. There were 20 abstentions. The motion as amended is therefore agreed. The next question is that motion 19421 in the name of Marie Goujon on the Land Reform Scotland Bill at stage 3 be agreed. And as this is a motion to pass the bill, the question must be decided by division. So the question is that motion 19421 in the name of Marie Goujon on the Land Reform Scotland Bill at stage 3 be agreed, and members should cast their votes now. The vote is closed. I call John Swinney for a point of order.
Chancellor, I was unable to correct the system. I would have voted yes.
Thank you, Mr Swinney. First Minister, we will ensure that's recorded. The result of the vote on motion 19421 in the name of Marie Goujon is yes 85, no 28. There were 9 abstentions. The motion is therefore agreed and the Land Reform Scotland Bill is passed. Thank you. Thank you. The next question is that motion 19535 in the name of Graham Day on behalf of the Parliamentary Bureau on approval of an SSI be agreed. Are we all agreed? Yes. The Parliament is not agreed, therefore we'll move to a vote and members should cast their votes now. The vote is closed. I call Claire Adamson for a point of order.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Matt Wooden Connect had voted yes.
Thank you, Ms Adamson. We'll ensure that's recorded. The result of the vote on motion 19535 in the name of Graham Day is yes 66, no 51. There were 5 abstentions. The motion is therefore agreed. And I propose to ask a single question on 4 Parliamentary Bureau motions. Does any member object? No member objects. Therefore, the question is that motions 19536 on approval of an SSI, 19537 on Office of the Clerk, 19538 on campaign recess dates and 19539 on recess dates in the name of Graham Day on behalf of the Parliamentary Bureau be agreed. Are we all agreed? Yes. The motions are therefore agreed, and that concludes decision time, and we'll now move on to members' business in the name of Nicola Sturgeon.